So this is the going to be the second thing I do on trying to figure out how you hypnotize anybody chemically. Once again, getting somebody into a suggestive state just involves getting them to relax, so there's something to that. I only know bits and pieces of the methods that were used on me to be hypnotized. Another example of this is I had this theory because Stu said that LSD was a part of the process of hypnotizing people. And then he told me you couldn't hypnotize anybody with LSD. And then he said you could. And then I looked at him and I said, you said your shit comes from Utah. Does your psychedelic come from a cactus? And then he went like this. Ugh! Which means yes in Stu's language. Likely, it's called mescaline, a natural occurring psychedelic compound found in several species of cacti, like peyote or San Pedro cactus. It's known to produce vivid psychedelic effects and warps in time. Remember that thing I talked about? They did that 10 seconds or 7 seconds in heaven hypnosis to me. Now, these are guided acid trips. They're guided LSD trips. Once again, you can actually hire somebody to do these for you. I've never tried it myself. Well, willingly. I've never tried it willingly. But they allegedly have the high spiritual effects, where people feel like they're going on a spirit trip. The other side of this is LSD, is heavy metals, tetralead. Tetralead disassociates you from your emotions and disassociates you from yourself. The LSD they use specifically in this church causes a strong sense of self, which is why they need it. But it's also the one they use to hypnotize people. Now, I believe the proper mixture for this stuff could be the specific LSD, distilled water, tetralead, and GABA. Because tetralead, when it's ingested, or lead when it's ingested, has a bunch of nasty side effects that can be mitigated by the use of GABA. And all the church leaders take GABA, by the way. And that makes sense. Another thing I didn't discuss about switching the conscious and unconscious minds is they argue you can't actually do it. No, you can do it, but you gotta limit neurological activity, because the unconscious mind, for whatever reasons, has a limited ability to handle reality. And what happens when you ingest enough tetralead is it shuts down your peripheral nervous system. The wives, when they were first switching my conscious and unconscious mind, there was an entire process where they just kept giving me this drink that had tetralead in it. I remember it was dark and they just kept putting a powdered substance in it again and again and again. And it took a lot to get my neurons down to the stupid level, so they could switch my conscious and unconscious minds. Because the unconscious mind isn't designed to handle the neural load. That's why you gotta lower the neuron level low enough for them to switch the mind. The hypnosis doesn't work like they call it the induction, where you put somebody into the state and you have to trust them, and nothing like that. One of the favorite moves of church leaders is they'll have somebody put LSD in your mouth before they come over, and you'll be sleeping. Like, you'll be sleeping and they'll hit you with this LSD and you'll be in a transient state. With me, I specifically remember being gold at the edge of my vision, or very vivid, bright colors, is another thing. I didn't realize I was in that state, and it really agitates me because it's just how these people think. They keep you at a disadvantage no matter what. You're not allowed to deal with them with a fully functioning, intelligent brain. Yeah. You gotta be stupid no matter what, because they can't handle intelligence. It pisses them off. The process for hypnosis with them is, once again, it's the best books are the ones that and it's them asking a series of questions like that, and as you give them the answer they want to hear, and they think the answer in their head, and then you will say it, but sometimes that doesn't work. And I don't know why that doesn't work 1,000,000%, but, when I say, like, the best books are the ones that you already read, I remember once somebody asking me that, like, the best books are the ones that you already colored, because you don't have to color the rest of the book. Like, stuff like that can happen. I don't remember the specific question, but I kept replying socialism, 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 and the wives kept trying to get me to say fascism. And I wouldn't say fascism because I'm not a fascist. I don't believe that just because you have more numbers and more violent, stupid people, you deserve to be in control. Okay? That leads into a society where stupid people that are just brute strength and are willing to commit every atrocity are in control. They're not necessarily intelligent, but they are extremely violent. Okay? And you will quickly see how fast society falls apart when you just put violent, stupid people in control of everything. Because, let's talk about unfeathered pride and ego. Well, you never admit you're wrong, so when you fuck up, you just keep fucking up. Anyways, trust me, that happened to me when I was president. I would say something stupid, and then it would just get repeated, and it was just so dumb. Because I either didn't know any better, or I was high on drugs when I said it. The dissociative identity is what they kind of refer to as the God brain, but even the idiots in the church, before they get the God brain, they're hypnotized the first time around during the process. And the first time around, they're basically hypnotized into the church is the only good thing. You swear fealty to the church. You do what the church wants. And they alter your core values. And that's even more interesting because that actually involves, like, hypnotizing a specific part of your subconscious mind to actually change your core values. Stu couldn't do it to me, and I don't know why that is, but even the wives had a huge amount of trouble trying, to the point that when like I said, the original president process is you have two different identities. You have the devil and the God. So the president is both devil and the God. Half the church is the devil, half the churches are angels, and the angels are useless because they're just lied to by the devils. They don't actually have any power. When I was president, I was like, maybe the angels could just refuse to pay fucking their tithlings to the church as a form of leverage, and the devils have to pay theirs. They don't have a choice because they're going to be murdering people anyways. And I remember the wives getting mad because it was the job of the devils to fool the good people into thinking the bad people are the bad people. And all these people are robbed of their senses. They're all robbed of their intuition, okay? By being poisoned with heavy metals. So the good people don't actually know who's good. And the bad people don't actually know who's bad. And the guy in control is just playing some kind of weird game where they're pretending to be in control when they're just threatening people and poisoning them with heavy metals. It's really stupid, and it just ruins people's lives. That's all it does. It's kind of moronic when you think about it on a bigger scale. And it's all for human trafficking. The end of it just comes down to human trafficking. So, I'm trying to, like I said, this specific LSD comes from a cactus that's growing out in Utah. And you could probably use other forms of LSD or psychedelics for that matter to do this, because it's whatever imitates the suggestive state. Me and the wives got into talking about, briefly, because they wouldn't give me the secrets, believe it or not, even as president. They wouldn't give me the secrets to how to hypnotize anybody, and they were really sideways about the structure to begin with, and it just had to do with I wasn't white. That was the whole thing, is they weren't going to teach me because I wasn't white. Yeah. I don't fully comprehend, how it's done, or how it's not done for that matter. a thing about body posture, communication, and exactly what you're thinking actually affects how the other person is thinking. Kind of like a telepathic thing, I guess. I don't really know if you call it real telepathy when it's just you're communicating to somebody through intuition, I guess, would be the better understanding of it, because it's not real telepathy, it's just weird. So in a nutshell, that's basically how you do it. Once again, it's distilled water, a tetraled, this weird LSD that's growing, and it comes from a cactus in Utah. It's like a psychedelic or something. And a GABA. GABA is important because even when they poison people with heavy metals, it's a mixture of GABA and the heavy metals. Because it reduces the after effects. They don't just poison you with heavy metals. Unlike Uncle Ruckus, who put metal polish in my food, and I got to experience what it feels like to be physically poisoned with fucking heavy metals, with the feeling like you're burning alive. And Blondie did the same thing to me in Ackworth when he was poisoning me with heavy metals. I kept feeling like I was burning alive. And that's what it feels like when you get poisoned with heavy metals. It literally feels like you're burning alive. For me, at least. I've been told other people experience other things. I don't know. I'm not other people. It is amazing that some people, as disgusting as this church, stumbled upon these women, these Memphis women in the desert, who were doing these psychedelic trips and hypnotizing men. And these guys are the worst people on the planet, just brutalizing and raping everybody and then telling people they're going to keep them safe while they're the ones assaulting and raping them. And just, once again, they're the devil and God. So they go, you need protections, you tell them no, and then they send somebody out to fuck you up and then tell you need protections and then take your money. Okay? Their church leaders are every serial killer in America to produce fear. And even if you're ever in a cult, you want a really good sign you're in a cult, fear is probably the number one thing. They push fear and fear and fear and anxiety and fear. That's all they do. And it creates a kind of scared, codependent on the leader kind of shit, when the leader is the guy that's creating the fear to begin with. If Stu didn't exist, if this church didn't exist, the fear wouldn't be there because they created. It's 100% synthetic. They do it with all types of shit like strychnine to simulated heart attacks and just crazy bullshit. Yeah. I don't know. This was the shit that Charles Manson used. Allegedly, every serial killer in America knows how to do this. The church leaders, here's that thing that's really interesting. The church leaders are not supposed to murder women, or not women, murder people using the hypnosis, because they have a contract with the Memphis. It's Stu and Gannon used hypnosis to murder the belly girl. And that is against their contract. So the Memphis technically shouldn't be under contract because Stu and Gannon violated that treaty. But they're not going to admit it because that's what they do. The church leaders can do no wrong, so they can make no mistakes, so they can't accidentally kill somebody with hypnosis. And you can, in fact, get somebody to kill themselves with hypnosis. It does not work like they claim it commercially works. That shit where it's like, oh, if this is against your values, if this is... It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. They can alter your values. They can alter your values by swaying your opinions. If you don't like killing, they can poison you with tetraled until you're okay with killing. Okay? The more they dissolve your halo brain, the more smooth and destroyed your halo brain is, the more subject you are to being easily hypnotized. But even the church leaders who can't be hypnotized, they're in... modern psychology, you can hypnotize somebody's ego, and if somebody's a dissociative identity disorder, you can actually hypnotize the individual identities. Okay? And that's even more interesting, but I really don't know enough about that. I found that really fascinating when I was learning about it. Yeah. So, there's that.